Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for your time.
It's a great pleasure. Now, I've got an album just about to come out called Generection. Tell us how this one came about. There's some previously recorded songs on there, I believe. Is that the case?
Well, not really. We have, of course, a few songs which we did a remake of a song like Vision, and we had like a song like Yearning, which is like a song which was there, and then we changed a little bit, and we brought it into the rock and roll world, call it that way. And then the rest of the idea, more or less, they've been written and collected along the years. Besides this Howling at the Moon, which was an old demo that was recorded, just partly recorded back in the early 90s, and then all of a sudden, Igor the other guitar player, came up and said, "Listen, check what I found. I think that may be interesting if he could finish the song." And then this was the very, very emotional and very challenge to finish. The song was the beginning of the old song started in, I think, 92 or 93 or something like that. So it was like, whoa. And then especially with the former singer Steve, and then was like, oh, we're supposed to do it in a way that he would have done it, just so that's the way we went for it. And I think the result is, I am very happy, and I believe that Steve would be very happy about it.
Yeah, okay. I'm reading recorded using analog equipment. Was that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Here we go. How much of a challenge? Yeah. Hey. Look at that.
Like that. It's the same studio. So
awesome.
If this is explaining the question.
How much of a challenge was that these days? Have you been recording analog all along?
No, actually, no. It's not a challenge. I think was really to get into the mentalities, especially. Because, with Gotthard and myself, or with CoreLeoni, we always record pretty much in the same system. But the idea behind is like to go like really into like the analog days. It's just like, let's keep the magic. Don't fuck around too much with the technology and say, hey, if there's something which is not working correctly, let's re-record it again. Instead of just, using technology, copy paste or whatever bits and pieces and put it together. So I think this was the main difference, and to get this on the mentality of everybody. It's just like, oh, let's go and let's try to get the best performance, and let's get the magic going. And I think this was the more thing, that we had to go for it. But beside that, technology went on, and we are lucky that we have a computer, we have Pro Tools or whatever system, use it. It helps a little bit. But I think the difference is using the technology and abuse of the technology. That's a different world, and I think they did it back then. They did loop on the tapes. They did whatever. They used the same way. So before was the engineer was crazy enough to chop up the tape and do the editing of the drum kit, right? Or whatever, the drum take. Now we don't need that anymore. So somehow they use the know-how, and now we're using the technology in that way. In that sense, I think it's fair enough. But to just ask, can you please print out this Barking at the Moon and make it sure that it's going to be a great song? This is a little bit over the top, I think.
Yeah. Do you think the band performed differently as a result, using those sort of techniques?
If you go the old way style, if you want to call it, so the band, let's get the band together and play the songs until we're going to get the right playback and the right things going. It gives a different vibe. If the drummer speed up a little bit, sometimes you need to speed up a little bit. So you have to play along with the drummer. If you play in live and somebody's moving, you have to move together, right? Otherwise, this is not going nowhere. That's what I think.
How have you had the time for this? Is Gotthard not the most busy performance-wise band on the planet, and you've got time to? Do this?
Well, of course, we have enough. It's very somehow it worked on a scheduled time, because of course with one band you go out, and then all of a sudden you have a break because the festival they finished, the live period is finished, and you go for a record and. But there's always a lot of time. You always been consequent on like first is the record, then you go on tour, then it's gonna be the break, and then so I nail it. We nail it to get the two things going together. Of course, the COVID period, which was like everybody was locked in a house. This moved a little bit the schedule on the left and the right side, but we managed to get it together without interfere too much. Sometimes you have to some shows that I have to fly left and right or have some traveling, but it's what it is. So and lucky I could do it. Let's put it that way. It would be more frustrating to stay home and say, "Wish I could do it." No, but no.
With the flying left and right, as you put it, how tricky has that been sometimes?
Well, tricky is like your guitar is not arriving, perhaps. And it's just a luggage with your underwear, it's fine. You're gonna find underwear down the road, right? But sometimes to find the right guitar, it's a little bit tricky. Or that's the most of the problem. Or sometimes even worse than that is they're arriving in the they're not well treated, and all of a sudden you have a broken neck or the good news is like nowadays in the world on the organization you have festival and they have enough good gears around, and we are very well served. And I mean, it's not like maybe the early days you wish you could add a Marshall and all of a sudden you end up with what is this homemade or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And this is like it changed a little bit, lucky enough. But especially with traveling, all the control and the plane cancellation, and this is sometimes it's a little bit it's getting on it. We're not on a level to get a private jet. Let's put it that way.
Would you want a private jet though?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, you could at least load your own gear on and make sure your guitars arrived with you, I suppose.
Yeah, this I think is one point, but especially nowadays, sometimes you cannot even bring the guitars in the cabin, and you go like, why? Yeah. Anyway, but that's a different story.
What's the coolest venue you've ever played?
In my career?
Yeah, yeah.
Besides my bedroom? In the bedroom, you can always put a poster on never mind how many people you're going to see in front of you. You decide the audience you're going to have, right? That's a good thing. And then nobody's going to say, no, boo. They're not going to boo you off stage.
They might say you stink, though.
No, but I think that's cool of places we played around the world, and it's always interesting, especially if you play in front of an unknown audience. That means we had a chance to play once in Korea, as South Korea, and we were like, wow, didn't expect anything, right? You go like, you didn't even think that they would know your song or whatever, and all of a sudden we found out there was a song on one of those sub movie, right, on a everyday television, and I was like, whoa. Right. And this made a hell of a difference. So we had to perform an acoustic set, and it was like 300 people just like listen to jazz all day long, and me coming in and played some rock and roll tune, and it was like, and they were screaming. We thought for a second to be the Beatles, go like, whoa, how cool is that, right? So therefore it's very hard to say if it's a large venue, it's a small venue, it's a big venue. I think it's interesting to see the reaction of different people in different corners around the world. I think that's very interesting. And the culture of the culture of the country changed a lot on the reaction of the audience.
Yeah, I've seen some of those big European festivals, and you look at the lineup and you think, hey, like, this is insane, how many bands on there. But then you see footage, and you're on the stage, and the front row of people's 20 meters away. That has got to be a weird sort of surreal feeling. Yeah.
Actually, those huge festivals. I mean, you lose a little bit of contact with the audience, and vice versa. Because I mean, the first row, as you said, they're about 20 meters away, and I guess there's thousand people behind them, so they cannot really even move somewhere. They can go nowhere, so they're stuck for a lot of time there, and this is like you lose a little bit the energy, which I think for certain kind of music you rather to have a smaller size of audience and venue, so you have more contact, more energy, and then again, if you're in the audience, you have to watch a big screen, so now you are there in the middle of the rain, maybe the sound is crappy, and you have to watch a huge TV set. Then you think, is that worth it?
Yeah,
It seems
yeah.
like yes. It seems like for some people, yes. So
Mm.
therefore, to performance, I rather to have a little smaller size. The big event, this is now what's matter, right? So the small maybe club, the
Mm.
dirty club is not so in anymore. Or you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
go little. I'm not saying pub or bar, but a club. Let's say maybe a 1,000 people club or 500 people club. For some people, it's like it's great if you are 20, 25. Then when you go a little bit older. Maybe some people think, it's cool to see the band, but the magic is not what we're looking for. It's too tight or whatever. You think too much is too stinky or whatever. And that's
I
it.
will go to the dirty clubs, don't you worry.
Me too. No
have you ever
problem.
have you ever played in a castle?
In a castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we played some castle. Yeah, yeah, we had there's few shows we played in the castle. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, there was no phantom around, so therefore was not that bad. I was
Mm.
working more on the phantom around, but there was none. But yeah, it's cool. It's a vibe. And especially you think that what happened before you playing there and in a castle, maybe what happened back then, what was
Yeah.
the entertainment was there, maybe it was like people hanged or whatever,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
a whoa.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is what
Yeah, I saw
especially
some
in North.
footage from a castle, and they had to crane all the gear in.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Imagine
yeah, yeah.
imagine being the crane operator. You'd have to be pretty bloody sure of yourself, wouldn't you?
Yeah, or that I either have a big insurance company behind your
Mm.
back.
Mm. Mm. Okay,
And,
let's
yeah.
get back to the album. I was listening to it without looking at the phone, and then a cover came on at the end, which I thought was
Mm.
unusual. Tell us about that. How did that come about?
I don't know what the cover is of the last one because we cover a few of them. If you're talking about a very interesting dance cover from the 70s, if you're talking about Lady Marmalade, I
I
think
am. I am talking about Lady
uh,
Marmalade. Yeah.
which is cool. It's music. It's very important. Supposed to bring ideas and danceable. Needs to be have melody and rock and roll and rock music, which we play or art rock, whatever, however you want to name it. Is like it's coming from the soul, from the blues, and this original Lady Marmalade is written blues song, as simple as it is, and a lot of energy, a lot of vibe. I really like the version that they did for Moulin Rouge, the movie with Christina Aguilera. I like the punch which they add, and then I thought, well, that would be super cool to have a guitar riff which is gonna hammer that. And a dance, it's nice to dance sometimes in the audience and dance on stage. There's nothing wrong with it. With Cotter, with Harsh, we played plenty of covers. With CoreLeoni, we covered other typical expected cover, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mm. Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is kind of tricky to think, well, Lady Marmalade is kind of something that maybe other artists would have picked. I would think like Marilyn Manson, perhaps. You go like, oh yeah, I thought about it, but I really like the song, and when I pointed out, I brought it to the guys, and they listen. I really love that thing. I think we could make it, and everybody was excited. And nowadays, and with these gender things and this and that, and it's pretty cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I love it. It's just like gives the vibe. It's rock and roll. I mean, it's what it is.
It is
I
rock
think
and roll. It is.
maybe Judah, maybe Rob Palper, he may gonna love that. I guess.
I reckon he would actually.
I guess so.
I reckon he would. The film clip. I was watching the film clip, as I said, for Generation Rock before you came on air. Tell us about that one. Those kids in there, are they real or AI? You got to check these days.
Yeah, yeah, no. The other thing is like it's everything is legal. First of all,
Yeah.
everything is legal. The first kid which is singing is my kid,
Yeah. Oh, cool.
is my son. So the
Yeah.
blonde singer is my son, and then there's for sure some AI things, and then there's also a little another kid which is like is the daughter of the driver, the mama that you see on the
Mm-hmm.
movie, on the video, and the idea is like our history, just like you want to play in a band, you got your instrument going, and Then all of a sudden you forgot the school, right? And which is like the parents is getting worried, and the daddy say, "Hey, you better get better," right? And that's whole story. So it is. I think that everybody was touched by stories like this, right? In his
Yeah,
own
yeah.
life, and I think it was like, in one way, it's a good sign to give to the new generation, and I think it's very important to give this sign, because it's like, if you if you're working hard on your things, you may gonna have a chance to achieve something, which is very important. But you don't have to let yourself be distracted or attracted to a situation like, I just want to play guitar and see what's going on in life. It's because if this is not going to work and not going to be successful, you have to
Mm,
start from scratch, and maybe you're too old to
mm,
start from scratch. I think that this is the positive message. But the more positive message, like, if you work hard, there's always a chance that you may gonna make it, right? I think that's the thing. But and it's up to us to give this message to the next generation, because it's nothing. There's nothing bad to be afraid to admit whatever mistake we did in the past, And I think that
mm,
the rock and roll legacy, or the rock legacy, or however you want to call it, is something to be proud of it.
mm.
If you think about what the rock legacy brought to this world, and thinking about charity, life, faith, or the last thing that Ozzy, after passing, the donation he did, and you go like, wow, wish that some politician would do the same thing, but they don't,
No,
right?
no.
And I think it's something to be proud of it, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I really appreciate that there's some people out there that think the same way, right?
Mm. Looking back to your youth, was there one album or moment that you can think of where you said, that's what I want to do, and it sort of guided you on your musical path?
Well, I think more than an album, as always, there's for sure, that's for sure. The Beatles is one of the biggest influence. This was made me to choose the guitar. Let's put it the Beatles. And then of course there's always situation that you have to take example. I think the music for me, the band and the artist, that was like um, a way to find an answer to what I want to do. Perhaps, if I'm thinking about the band when we lost the sing so well, some other bands did it, and AC/DC perhaps was one of the biggest examples. If AC/DC made it after Bon Scott left this world, there's a
Yeah,
chance that
yeah,
somebody else could do it too. So I'm taking this as example. So and then on the music, of course, there's plenty of example. Either is for musical, or also for things that maybe you have to do, and some things that you maybe don't have to do just because you better don't do it, or enter in some path you don't want to be there, right?
yeah.
And I think that's just like, there's plenty of example of in any direction. And there's always you cannot tell what inside the book unless you read the book, right? And here is the same thing. And just to get an example, I think there's many out there. For any situation in your life, there's always an answer to be found.
Mm. Okay, so we've got this album, Generection, coming out. Oh, I'm struggling to find the date here. September
11th of
11th.
September.
Yeah, wow. Okay, what happens then? Are you playing live, touring around the
Yeah.
place?
We're gonna start the Central Europe tour somehow to promote this record, and go out on the road, and do whatever needs to be done to promote this record at this moment. And actually, to be on the road is a nice thing. Just you are in studio, you're writing songs, and you want to see how the songs goes on live, right? On your fans, and then we're gonna find out from September on. We're gonna start, as I said, Central Europe, and then we will see next year what is gonna come up. Hopefully, there's gonna be some festivals, and let's see. They're working on it. The booking agencies try to get busy, I hope.
Yeah, yeah. How many songs from the new album do you reckon will be in the set? Are you one of these bands that'll put like 5 or 6 in there, or just swing a couple in
Hey,
there?
well, we're gonna start practice the check on the rehearsal room next week. Sometime with Gotter, we always when we present the album, perhaps we'll be going for like 5, 6 songs from the record, from the new record. Now with CoreLeoni, we're gonna find out. We hope we're gonna bring some 4 or 5 songs, something like that, just to get
Yeah.
it across. But this is what we're gonna find out, and then we have to, there's plenty of songs that I want to play, and a lot of songs that a lot of the audience want to hear for, right? And then we try to get the best word out of it.
Yeah, no, it's a good album. It sounds good. It sounds organic, I guess you could say. Have you had a situation in the past where you've got an album coming out, you play a track off of it for the first time, and it doesn't work on the crowd like you thought it would, and you've had to maybe swap it out, get another one in?
Yeah, absolutely. This has happened. I think every album there's something like that. You believe in one song, and all of a sudden this is not going to work, and the one you don't believe on it is the one that's going to take off, right? So I mean, if I take an example of Deep Purple, when they wrote "Smoke on the Water," it was like, well, we need to write a new song, and because we have to fill up the record. This was what they're telling.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of situation like that, right?
Yeah.
And it is what it is. Sometimes you bet on the wrong horse.
Yeah. Well, you got plenty of songs on there to choose from that could go down well. So that's going to be good. Did you say a month on the road in Europe?
About.
Yeah. Okay. How you go for sleeping on a bus? Are you okay with that?
Yeah. It's good. I think that traveling with the bus is the most simple thing for the artist. My opinion, my personal opinion.
Look, I would think so.
Yeah, you're just like, get in the bus, you wake up, you're in the next venue, you don't have to care about luggage, not my guitar is going to arrive, where is going to be the check-in, the check-out, the security check, and this and that. And then you lose the key from the hotel room, and then you go to the room with a new key, and it's deckmentized, and you go like, when the hell am I going to sleep? You're going to be in the bus, and you go like, good night, see you tomorrow. Right? And
sounds like you've had stories like that.
Oh yeah,
with
I could write a book.
Well, maybe you should.
One of the last thing that happened crazy is like we had to shorten up a set because due to the rain, the broadcast. So we had to shorten up the set, and we had to start the show earlier, right? And what happened? We've been ready to go on stage, right? And then the tour manager came, the production man, say, "Okay, 2 minutes to go." And I said, "Okay, we set, take it easy, like last thing you do, just like let's zip of beer or whatever." Then you hit the road, and then the tag which is supposed to start the intro, it's just start the intro without telling us. Say, "Oh, let's go." So you're there, you're one, and you have to move. Say, "Oh, wow, thank you for the correct information," right? But that's what happened. Not that bad. And then,
hey, thanks so much for having a chat to us. Good luck with your new album, Generection. Hope it really goes well for you. Good luck out on tour. Stay safe. And thanks again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Have a good day. See you later.
Have a good day too. Ciao, ciao. Cheers. Thank you.